Here's a stat that's gonna sting. Your sales teams waste 70% of their time on everything but selling. All of that time suck updating the CRM, copying and pasting notes between tools, hunting for documents to piece context together. And what's worse, all of that work actually makes your forecasts and pipeline reports less accurate, not more. You decide it's time to start thinking about AI automations to handle the grunt work instead, but most automation tools like N8N are complex to set up. What if I told you there is a tool that lets you set up all of those complicated sales-specific workflows in seconds without the learning curve and saves your reps 20 hours a week consistently? In the next 12 minutes, I'm gonna walk you through Zams, the AI command center for B2B sales teams that turns your entire GTM stack into one reliable system where you can search, track metrics, and run automations in plain English. By the end, you'll see this is the leverage your sales team has been missing. So let's go.
Zams was built to solve this exact pain point. It's the command center for sales teams. It integrates with all the tools across your stack, so you're not stuck playing or paying for someone to play human duct tape. With Zams, you can create agents and run automations in plain English, just like you'd talk to or instruct a human. You just type what you want done, and Zams executes tasks across all of your tools. That means that whether you're looking to generate one-off reports and visualizations on your pipeline, or you're building a multi-step workflow to automate weekly call coaching metrics on all of your sales reps, it never gets more complicated than typing it out in a chat box. You could build one complicated workflow in 3 hours, or you could build 30 automations in 3 minutes with Zams. Zams gives you 3 superpowers: automation, research, and reporting. Automation is the ultimate action engine. It connects to all your tools and allows you to run scheduled commands in plain English. Daily meeting briefs, lead routing, CRM updates. It runs in the background so your team doesn't have to think about it. Research is the ultimate answer engine. It helps you answer any questions using your data, your playbooks, your leads, your calls, and your tools. Not just generic off-the-shelf internet responses by stuff that's specific to you. Is now the right time for me to intervene on that important deal? What were the next steps discussed last time and where they followed through? What is the most ideal cold calling script for this lead? Tell me fun facts about Jack, who I'm meeting with, in 5 minds. Reporting is the ultimate data engine. It gives you real-time metrics for any questions without building a dashboard for everything. These are specific to your business and based on accurate metrics from your reps. For example, show me my top reps and deals likely to close this quarter from HubSpot, or give me the median time to close for each of my reps. And Zams pulls it instantly with full data visualizations that used to take hours to build. We'll see all 3 in action in the next section. Let's start with something every sales team wants: a hands-free CRM that's always up to date, without you ever having to tab switch or copy paste notes again. It would take you an hour to build a workflow on automation building platforms that goes through every calendar for each sales rep every day, cross-references every customer call, whether discovery conversation or demo, and the specific transcripts, checks whether that data has already been added to the CRM, and if not, automatically adds call notes and meeting insights to existing leads, or creates new leads if those customers aren't recorded in the CRM. With Zams, all you have to do is type that prompt in. There are 2 types of agents you can run on Zams: your on-demand co-pilot for on-the-fly tasks and one-time metrics and visualizations, and ambient agents, which are automations you set on a schedule. With this ambient agent, we'll schedule it to run every weeknight at 7 p.m. Then we'll add that prompt in plain English in the prompt box, tagging all of the apps we want this agent to use in the workflow. Turn it on, and you've just saved each of your reps an hour every day. Now, let's say you're prepping for your next QBR and you need your pipeline data, sales reps metrics, and quota forecast for your presentation. What's your process today? You're pulling in your sales analyst or RevOps lead to export all that data for you, visualize it cleanly, and put together your slides. That's a full day of work that you could replace with one prompt in Zams. In your on-demand co-pilot, you can just type from HubSpot, find all open deals this quarter by rep, show total pipeline value, win rate, and expected close dates. Then forecast this quarter's revenue versus quota. To take these metrics and turn it into a report, it's as easy as adding a sentence. Turn this into a QBR-ready presentation in Google Slides, and within a minute, Zams delivers a full presentation for you to share at your board meeting. Not only have you saved your analyst a day of work, you've saved yourself 10 hours of idle time. Now let's level up. This one combines intelligence and automation and saves you all the work of manual lead assignment. Routing leads to the right rep fast. It's one of the hardest things to get right in sales, especially if you're running a strong inbound motion. Normally, you'd have to build a tangle of routing rules in Salesforce or HubSpot, mapping every territory, company size, and role combination just to make sure your AEs get the right leads. And every time your team changes, you're back in the maze, updating workflows and retesting logic. In Zams, it's done with one 30-second prompt. Every hour, check HubSpot for new inbound leads. For every new inbound lead in the last hour, use Zams and Rage to analyze company size, funding round, and title. If they're from a Series B+ company and VP level, assign them to the Enterprise AEQ. If they're mid-market, send them to SDR West. Everyone else goes to the Nurture sequence. Zams doesn't just push data from one tool to another, it understands context, applies your criteria dynamically, and makes the right decision instantly. And the best part? You didn't build a single routing rule or code a workflow. Let's talk about automatization platforms. I'm not here to knock them. They have been around for 15 years and are great for standard automations. If this happens, do that. New form submission, send a Slack message, new email, create a task. It's clean, predictable, and millions of people use it. But every automation tool before 2025 is based on determinism. You have to set every rule, define every path, and the system will only ever do exactly what you tell it. That works until your world stops being predictable. That's fine for static tasks, but ask it something like, prep me for my day, or what's the median time to close for each rep, and it just can't. Those aren't deterministic tasks. They require intelligence, judgment, and context. Now, some of them have introduced some agentic capabilities, but the truth is, it's still built on the same old infrastructure. And if this, then that engine. You can layer AI on top of that, but underneath, it's still just following rules. Here's the difference between Zams and other platforms. Let's say you want to clean up your pipeline at the end of the month. In platforms, you'd build a flow that says, if a deal hasn't been updated in 10 days, post a reminder in Slack. That works until you realize one deal's already in procurement, another was pushed because the customer delayed, and another is owned by a rep on PTO. They don't know any of that. It's just taking the rules you gave it and following the workflow. Now do the same thing in Zams. Identify any deals that are actually at risk, summarize what's blocking them, and alert the right reps. Zams doesn't follow a script. It actually executes on what you want. It reads your CRM, checks call notes, factors in rep workload, and adapts. That's agentic AI. Automation that can think. Here's another difference. Most automation tools are general purpose. They work well for surface level use cases like sending alerts, logging data, and moving things from A to B. But the moment you try to build something domain specific, they break. Zams is purpose built for sales context. It's designed to understand the messy, dynamic cross-tool reality of how go-to-market teams actually work. So instead of trying to make a generic workflow work for sales use cases, you just ask Zams to do what you need, and Zams figures out how to do the task. Whether you're saying summarize every open deal and flag the ones at risk, or draft personalized follow-ups for accounts that went dark last week, Zams doesn't need to build a workflow for that. It already knows how your sales stack fits together. Salesforce, Gong, Slack, HubSpot, and it can execute intelligently across them. And when people use it for the first time, their reaction is almost always the same. Oh my God, I've never seen anything like this before. And here's the ROI proof. Teams that switch from automation platforms to Zams report saving an additional 8-12 hours per week per rep. Not because Zams replaces automations, but because it eliminates the manual decisions that they can't handle. Let's talk about what this costs, because ROI only matters if the math makes sense. Zams operates on a usage-based model. You're not paying per seat or per automation. You pay based on what you actually use. For most sales teams, that breaks down like this. If you're running daily briefings for 10 reps and syncing notes from tools like Gong or HubSpot, you you might be in the 300,000 tasks per month range. That's the Pro plan at around $1,600 per month. Larger teams running more advanced automations like syncing data across multiple CRMs or orchestrating outreach campaigns might use closer to 1 million tasks per month, which lands around $3,100 to $3,700 per month, depending on your plan. At this point, you can replace entire complex workflows and are saving 6 figures a year instead of hiring another sales rep or analyst to be your next human duct tape. The ROI is a no-brainer. And the best part, you can scale up or down at any time. Zams grows with your workflow volume, not your headcount.
So who should use Zams? Here's my take. If you are a solo founder or a tiny startup with 1 or 2 sales reps, Zams might be overkill. You don't have enough complexity yet. Stick with Zapier or just do things manually until you hit scale. But once you're running a real GTM motion, 5 or more reps, multiple tools, and a pipeline that's getting harder to trust, that's when Zams becomes a game changer. If your CRM is always out of date, your ref ops lead spends half their week fixing automations, or your pipeline reviews never match reality, you've hit the limit what Zapier-style tools can do. If that sounds familiar to you, Zams will pay for itself in the first month. Not in soft ROI productivity gains, in actual closed deals that wouldn't have happened otherwise. For modern sales orgs, this isn't just automation, it's revenue infrastructure. Listen, the future of sales isn't about hiring more reps, it's about giving the team you already have unfair leverage. And that's exactly what Zams does. It removes friction, the admin, the guesswork, the delays, and replaces it with actual intelligent automation. It turns every rep into a top performer by giving them time, context, and clarity. The teams winning today aren't the biggest, they are the fastest. The ones operating with clean data, instant insights, and intelligent systems that never sleep. And that's what Zams unlocks. So hit the link in the description. Nerman, the CEO at Zams, promised me that every one of my viewers will get a personal one-to-one onboarding from him. His exact words, "I'm never too busy for my users." Trust me, once you hook up your own tools, you'll see why it's unlike anything you've seen before. Thank me later.